to Bad Larry.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bad Larry Kingdom. I'm your host, Bad Larry, and today, this episode continues the Tomb of Dracula with issue number 4, The Bride of Dracula, titled Through a Mirror Darkly. So back in the 70s, you would have, looks like a title on the front, but then the actual issue title would possibly be separate. So before we continue, we got to rate that cover. I'm not a big fan of actually having text bubbles on the cover. I know that kind of went away. People started realizing, the cover should just be the cover. I think that back then they were trying to maybe do a little bit too much, let you know what was going on, inserting actual text onto the cover. I'm not taking it down for that per se, but I'm just comparing it to previous covers by Eugene Colon. I just don't think that this one is as crisp and as refined as his other issues. The background, in particular, the gray sky, he usually does a lot more. The building seems a lot less detailed. The characters, it just is a little bit more sloppy than his normal cover work. So for that reason, it gets a 75%. The Madam of the Manor, Isla Strangway, has invited, by choice, Dracula into her house, which she knows because she's an expert in occultism, that this is the only way to allow Dracula into the home. Why would she do such a thing? I love how her name is Isla Strangway, meaning she literally has a strange way of living. So Isla Strangway thinks that her time on Earth has made her more clever than the centuries-old monster that's Dracula. Probably not a good idea. Isla is playing a very dangerous game here. She knows the cross will keep Dracula at bay from attacking her, but she needs answers. She wants to know if she becomes a vampire, will she regain her beauty? And one of the things I do like about this episode is that Dracula is going to say whatever Dracula's going to say to get his way. At the end, what's the repercussions? Dracula's been through this 100 times, 1,000, 1,000,000 times. He's going to say whatever he's going to have to say to get what he wants to get. And at this point, he wants to bite this lady in the neck and then take whatever she has. So poor Isla Strangway is thinking that she's going to make a deal with Dracula, Count Dracula, and that he's going to honor his part of the bargain. Well, let's see how that works out for her. Isla Strangway wants, more than anything, the beauty of her youth. What I find interesting, she should know that if she becomes a vampire, she won't be able to look in the mirror. So how would she even know that she's young and beautiful again? Being someone who is such an expert in the occult as she is at this point in her life. She's spent years and years and obviously countless potions and lotions and serums to try and retain her beauty. This is before plastic surgery and fillers. So, she's desperate. And at this point, she's willing to die to regain her youth and beauty. So she decides she's going to offer Dracula this special black mirror as a reward if Dracula turns her into a vampire and doesn't kill her. Dracula's like, sure, whatever, and teaches this gal a lesson. And even though Isla Strangway has wanted this moment for her whole life, the moment has come. It's still scary as can be. She still lets out a scream when Dracula bites her neck, sending her servant, butler, to run up the stairs and see what's going on. And of course, Dracula slaps him, knocks him out easy. The poor butler woke up in the hospital, head bandaged up. He's telling our heroes Frank Drake and Rachel Van Helsing that the man seemed more like a monster. He slapped me with an open hand backhand and sent me flying across the room, unconscious for hours. No one has this kind of strength. I love this kind of storytelling because it really puts you in this position. Like, how much power would this person have to just slap you and send you flying across the room? You'd be terrified of this person or this creature. You'd have to believe that they were more than human, especially if you've never seen something, or superheroes in this world aren't a common thing, which they aren't in this world. So Dracula showing up and showing these feats of strength and causing murder, it's really terrifying. Meanwhile, they go back to the lady's manor, and Taj is a super duper tracker, and he's able to track the location of where Dracula has carried off Isla Strangway. Even through the rain, Taj is able to track the footsteps to an old abandoned kind of cavernous bunker hidden out in the woods. What I like about the way that the writer is writing these characters is that we see that Clifton over here in the top left corner, he is cursing the sun the same that Dracula would be cursing the sun, because Clifton Graves is under the mental mind control, and as a slave to Dracula, he hates everything Dracula hates. So he's cursing at the sun to go down to allow his master to get up and roam about. And what we see is, as Dracula is waking up, well, so is Isla Strangway. So she's waking up, and of course, brand new day one vampire, she's got the thirst, she's got the super thirst, and she isn't practiced in controlling it. She's literally a brand new baby vampire. And as we can see, she is not young and beautiful. She is still old as dirt. And Dracula is saying, all right, take a chill pill. You're a vampire now. You're going to have to start learning to control yourself. And she lunges at Clifton, and Dracula grabs Isla Fisher by the hair and is like, nah. What's Dracula's is Dracula's. You can't be eating my man. That's not for you. You're gonna have to go and hunt down your own food. Now tell me about this special mirror. So Isla Fisher tells Dracula about this special mirror, and she said that in her search for all things occult, she went to an auction. This mirror was calling to her. She read a bunch of books about it, and she learned that this mirror, this black mirror, isn't just a mirror, but it's much, much more. Isla Fisher, the now vampire, is honoring her deal to Dracula. She's telling Dracula that this mirror, if you do the right spell, can be used as a portal. It is a literal time machine mirror. If you do the right incantation, you can step through the mirror and go back to any time period that you want. And she's looking at him and saying, you're a 19th century man that's stuck in the 20th century. You belong back there, buddy. You need to go through this mirror and go back to your time period. You're not accustomed to this time period. And that kind of pisses Dracula off. He's like, I'm centuries old. You won't tell me what I can and can't do. I've adapted my whole life. He smacks the crap out of this new vampire and is like, you can't tell me what I can and can't do. I'm Count Dracula. You're just a brand new baby vampire. You haven't even drinking blood yet, so piss off. And, they both turn into bats and head on out to go find themselves some dinner. Meanwhile, Clifton Graves, because he's so connected to Dracula, knows exactly what Dracula wants him to do, so he's gonna run back to the mansion, but Pow! Out of the woods comes a fist. Frank Drake knocks him out cold. Frank Drake really enjoyed that punch. At this point, he has a lot of disdain for his former best friend, Clifton Graves, who really is responsible for this whole entire mess. He really deserves a lot more than just one smacker to the face. But anyway, so our heroes, Frank Drake, Rachel Van Helsing, and Taj, tie up Clifton Graves because they know, he's going to wake up. He's still under the influence of Count Dracula. Rachel Van Helsing is super knowledgeable in what to do and what not to do. And they set a booby trap for Isla Isla Strangway. So when she comes back to sleep in her grave, well, she ain't going to be able to rest because there's going to be a cross in her grave. And then Rachel Van Helsing tells Frank Drake and Taj to head back, and she's going to stay here and wait for the new vampire to return and hopefully take her out with her Van Helsing crossbow. Meanwhile, we see that Isla Strangway has flown to a Friday night danceroo hall. She's turned back into a vampire from a bat and is spying on two young lovers who are leaving the dance early to go canoodle. And she's looking at them in really admiration of their youth. This is what she wants. She thinks that if she bites them, drinks their blood, and rests, that she'll wake up young and beautiful. But the first step, she has to kill these young kids and drink their blood. Poor kids. Count Dracula is quite eager to check out this black mirror that has been gifted over to him from Isla Strangway for turning her into a vampire. He wants to see what this mirror is all about. He ain't got nothing else better to do right now. So as he's creeping up towards the house with his super senses, because he's a monster and he's got super hearing and super vision because he's the ultimate predator. That's really what he is. He's a predator. He's able to see Frank Drake, his cousin, lurking behind a tree. Quick as a bat, he flies to him. And what I love is, we could see that he's able to change from a bat back to Count Dracula as quick as a blink. And he's on top of his cousin Frank Drake. He's annoyed at him at this point. Why are you still tracking me down? Cousin, I'm gonna turn you into a vampire because you hate me so much. You're annoying me. I'm going to turn you into the thing that you hate. And one of the things that a 19th century person isn't familiar with is a flashlight. And that's what does Dracula in right here. Taj has modified a flashlight with the cross on it and just uses a flashlight to drive Dracula away. He's never seen a flashlight before, Count Dracula. This is a new invention. So he's thinking, maybe Isla Strangway is right. All of these new inventions and technologies, especially stupid light, is really annoying to me. Maybe it is better if I go back in time. Well, Frank Drake gets up. There's no time to lament his loss at that first interaction with Count Dracula. Him and Taj have him on the run. Frank Drake grabs his flashlight, and together, tactically with Taj, he's driving Count Dracula deeper into a trap, to the point where Count Dracula now has to crash through the window into the manor. And he's thinking, okay, well, I'm going to run out the front door and get out of here. These lights are really annoying the crap out of me. But as he's running out the front door, bang! Another light with the cross on it. What the heck is going on here? Well, Frank Drake and Rachel Van Helsing had instructed the local coppers to use their spotlight with the same cross on it. And so now Count Dracula is trapped in the house. He can't escape through the back because of Frank Drake and Taj's lights. He can't escape through the front because of the cops' lights. And now he's thinking, man, this mirror is really my only escape. Meanwhile, Dr. Rachel Van Helsing is waiting for Isla Strangway to return to her coffin. She muzzles Clifton Graves' mouth so he can't scream and waits patiently for Isla Strangway to enter back into her slumber. As Isla attempts to get into her coffin to get her rest, she sees the cross. Now she can't even get into her casket. And out pops Dr. Rachel Van Helsing and says, Isla Strangway, you're a monster, lady. It's time to die. And Isla Strangway actually comes to the realization that she made a big mistake. She didn't realize the thought of having to kill all these people and drink their blood. It's not a pleasant experience. Even as a vampire, apparently, you have to live with the fact that you're killing all these people. And she's not too happy with it, especially that when she looks down at her hands and sees that her hands are still old as she hasn't turned young yet, and that she's wondering why she hasn't turned young. And Clifton and Dr. Van Helsing said, well, you got turned into a vampire when you're old. Yeah, so, if you wait a long time and then you drink blood, you're going to go back to when you turn into a vampire. So yeah, Dracula tricked you. He was a vampire when he turned 30. So that's why he's always going to look young, but you will now always look old. And that really upsets Isla Strangway, because her whole point was to become a vampire to go young again. Well, now that she's going to be forever old, she's upset. But she feels like she's got a bit of a revenge on Dracula, because what she didn't tell Dracula is that for the mirror to work, you have to have another second mirror in the exact location that you're trying to teleport to. So if there isn't a second mirror in the exact spot, well, what's going to happen? Dracula is going to walk through the mirror and basically walk into limbo, where all the monsters and demons are waiting, and they're going to eat him up. That's what she expects. That's what she had read. And then she comes to the realization that she doesn't want to be old forever anymore. Her whole plan to be young has been ruined. She doesn't want to continue murdering people, and just asks Dr. Van Helsing to just end her, which Dr. Van Helsing does with one crossbow bolt to the heart. Because Count Dracula is trapped in the house, he decides he's going to step through the black mirror. He does the incantation, but just as he is entering the black mirror, Taj, the very strong, tall Indian man, busts through and tackles Count Dracula. And as strong as Taj is, he's no match for the Count. And the Count is quite annoyed because the incantation will only allow the black mirror to be opened for moments. So what a cliffhanger, as our heroes Frank Drake and Dr. Rachel Van Helsing enter into the dark room. They can see Count Dracula has entered through the black mirror and has drugged Taj with him. And now Dr. Van Helsing is banging on the mirror. Will we ever see Taj again? Will we see Count Dracula again? I rated this issue a 97%. I mean, heck, I think I learned a lot about Count Dracula in this episode, more than I was expecting. I learned that he's a devious son of a gun. He's going to lie to whoever he wants to lie to get whatever he wants. He's got no honor. Just because he's a noble man who's been around for centuries doesn't mean that he ain't going to lie to get what he wants. I learned that from this issue, a lot of the lore is obviously coming or being consistent in creating the canon for the character of vampires. So we learn that if you get turned into a vampire, that's the age that you stay at forever and ever. So if you are going to be turned into a vampire, it's best to be turned young. I learned that this idea of a limbo dimension was already an idea way back in 1972. So one of my favorite X-Men magic, Ilyana Rasputin, often travels through this limbo dimension with these demons and monsters to teleport. And I think that they got this idea directly from this comic. I mean, I can't be 100% sure, but it looks sure the heck a lot like the limbo dimension that we've seen in the New Mutants comics, and especially through Inferno. And anytime Ilyana has had to travel through limbo, I think that this issue just didn't call it limbo, but when Isla Strangway was explaining it, it basically was limbo, the place where all these monsters and demons who created the mirrors exist, that you have to travel through. So I thought it was an excellent episode. Excellent issue. I gave it a 97%. It was darn near perfect in my opinion. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, it means a lot to me. And until the next time, be good to one another. Peace.